Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone from around the world and in the United States. This is the Diana Wright Show live online, and we begin now. Of course, we always begin by encouraging you to love yourselves and say the three little words, I love me. And as my voice continues to get better, because when I reflect, I was pushing myself 14 hours a day work. That was not very wise. But anyway, God knows how to bring you back in check. All right. So anyway, remember, I love me. 3 simple words. Come April 30th is International I Love Me Day, courtesy and created by the Diana Wright Show live online. And, I just want to point something out today that I thought about, and you're not validated. You're not recognized. As popular as my show was in Jamaica, it was the most watched show in the history of television, still is. And you can read the articles if you'd like. They're on my website at dianawrighttv.webs.com. And don't forget that if you miss a show, you just need to go to the bottom of the page, click onto the YouTube icon, and you will see all the shows that you've missed come up. But it's just incredible to note that Oprah had to be recognized by a white man. When I did my, and that's who gave her this great journey, and I'm sure she's grateful, along with the power of God, of course, but also through his son Jesus. But also, I remember being in Jamaica, and it's not until a white businessman came to Jamaica, watched my show in his hotel room, and then he simply said, I guess to the next business meeting he went, I cannot believe that show was actually produced here and anchored by that woman, that young lady. Yes. And then, boom, there was an article in the business magazine in Jamaica that spells out just that, what the businessman had said. And hooray, woo, everybody was, yes, the show was, getting all the accolades, but wow, there was a segment that did not come aboard until that was done and said by this man. And I thank him until this day. His name was in the article. I don't remember right now. I think I have the article somewhere, because whenever I miss an article, there's always someone to make sure that I see that article. So I got it and I read it and I thought, wow. And then I read about Oprah's story, how, when she moved to Chicago, this man gave her the opportunity that she needed. And I continue to say that each and every one of us, all we need is that opportunity to take us on the journey of the life that we want and we see for ourselves. So I don't know who my white man will be on this world wide web where you're seen internationally. You never know who's watching. There's your own community that watches. There are your friends that watch. But who will there be that will be your savior or your opportunity giver? As we take our journeys, that's why we should always continue to live the best life that we can for ourselves by loving ourselves. That's the beginning of it, the beginning of the journey, the beginning of your journey. And I promise you, you just never know who is out there and whose eyes God is placing on you through his son Jesus in that moment, on that day. So as we strive and we crusade to make you love yourself and teach your children to love yourselves, know that it's coming from a place of love. Because you see, God is love. And God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son to suffer for us, for our sins. And if you watch the Bible, this mini-series that's running now, or any other of those things that shows you the crucifixion, the beating, and the nailing to the cross of Jesus, There is no way you can imagine that he would have woken up after they buried him, because he died on that cross for our sins. And when he rose from the dead, how many of us believe that we can be risen from our dead, from our place of death, wherever it is and whatever it is in our lives that's dead? Because some of us do have dead lives and dead dreams, and we need to awake them and bring them into the forefront, because you never know who's watching. Because if Jesus can be resurrected, come back and do all the great things that he did, from turning water into wine, from healing the man with the withered hand by just telling him to stretch it out, and it was normal, by raising his friend Lazarus from the dead and so many other people, making the blind see, make the deaf hear. What is our little miracle worthy of? And how difficult could our little miracle be for God and through his son Jesus, if he suffered and went through all he went through? So whatever your tragedy is today, I am here to promise you that God through his son Jesus will bring you out of that. But you must trust and believe in yourself and God and his son Jesus. You must love yourself, and you must admit to yourself that you're worthy. You're worthy of the blessing that will come. I'm worthy. Why not you? You must acknowledge that you are indeed worthy. And you must value yourself. How do you feel about yourself today as you woke up? Are you loving yourself? And are you meditating on that? To know that no matter who in your life is negative, or who in your life has forgotten you, or who in your life is no longer with you, there is one supernatural being that you need to be with you, and that's the only one you really need, is God and his son Jesus. Because they are supernatural and they are powerful. Man does not have the power. God through his son Jesus has the power, and will make all your dreams come true. Remember, the scripture clearly tells us that he will make all of your dreams come true. Yeah? And all the desires of your heart will be given to you. But you must trust, you must believe, and you must have faith. But love gives you faith. And love and happiness, the words for this week, love gives you happiness. Love gives you hope. Love makes you believe in life again. Love gives you joy. Love is the greatest gift that you can give to anyone else, and majorly to yourself, your children, and your family. It's important. Love gives you peace. And really and truly, love gives you healing. Because if you love yourself and you pray for healing and you trust that the God that you love and his son Jesus, they will give you healing, because the Bible tells you so. Because if all the things that the Bible tells us, and all the Bible movies, series, whatever they're called, tells us and shows us, if all of that is not true, then frankly, we just need to throw away the Bible, don't go to church anymore, and just deal with life yourself. And I don't think that's possible. Who makes the sun shine? Who makes it rain? Who makes it storm? Who makes the grass green and the flowers bloom? Who makes the birds sing at your window? And how many of us look at the rainbow? I told you about the story of my daughter and I, who we always chase rainbows. And when you read my book, Deadly Negligence, which comes out soon, you will see the significance of the rainbow. The rainbow is important. We need to take time to appreciate the things that God gives us. And He gives it to us for free. You have nothing to do with the plants that grow outside. Because if you plant something and He decides it's not going to grow, it's not going to grow. So let us have faith and trust in what we believe in. And realize that each and every one of us, we're worthy and we're valuable. And as I continue, love makes the dying person wait. That's how powerful love is. I speak of Robin Roberts on Good Morning America. Despite the fact that she was facing her own insurmountable tragedy and pain and suffering and need for a transplant that was given to her by her sister, her mother, her dying mother, waited until she got there before she died. As the story, as they tell us, when she got there, her mother then died. So who does that? It has to be Jesus, working through His Father God, because no man can make stuff like that happen. So think about it. The person that you have, that you love, your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your loved ones in general, if they are down to the last breath, believe me, if they want to see you first, they will not die until you get there. And only God through His Son Jesus can make that happen. So love is truly powerful, powerful, powerful. Love makes you remember. Love makes you sit down and reminisce and remember all the good things that have happened to you in your life. That's how powerful love is. And that's the reason I have decided a long time ago. And that's the reason I made that CD, which eventually I'll play for you. When I figure out the right way to do it, I will. And it's called I Love Me. Because it's not about your mother's love, your father's love, your sister's love, your children's love, your spouse's love, the love of your significant other, the love of your friend. It's about the love that you have for yourself. And I will go down trying on this crusade, the I Love Me crusade, to make each and every one of you from around the world, in the United States, no matter where you are on this planet, and no matter how deep your tragedy or your sorrow is, I will convince you to love yourself. And when the book comes out and I go on the journey of the I Love Me crusade promoting the book, I know even greater things will happen. Because then we'll meet face to face, not through the screen of the computer. So I promise you, it's an achievable goal if you want to achieve it. Don't tell me you don't love yourself because your nose is big and you're too dark and your hair is no good and you don't have good hair. I don't want to hear it. I want to hear you love yourself the way God truly, wonderfully made you to be. So let's continue. Love wakes you up from a coma. How many times have we heard and experienced and know someone who was in a coma, and when they hear the voice of their loved one, they immediately responded? How many of us have known that, have felt that, have seen that, have known about someone that we know? That's how powerful love is. Love is attractive, you see, because when you have love for yourself, people will be attracted to you naturally without you making any effort. Love is like a magnet. It gives and brings you love. But you must be able to give love to yourself and other people. Because we all know how we want to get love, but we never seem to know how we want to give it back to someone else. So my crusade continues every single day of your life. I promise you. You will go to your grave feeling much better. And even though you might be sick and in a hospital now and someone is turning on this show to make you see it, to give you some hope, the love that I'm giving you through the screen of your computer will give you the hope to fight and be better. Because when you're sick, if you give up, you die just a little faster. But if you decide to fight and stay alive, God through his son Jesus will heal you. But you must first believe, 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 and trust, and trust, and trust, and have faith, and more faith. And live in the power of the supernatural. Sid Roth has a show that's called It's Supernatural. If you haven't watched it, you need to watch it sometimes. It comes on various religious channels. And I'm sure you have one of them that will carry that. So if you don't believe me, just watch that and see what the power of love. Celine Dion sings that song that I love so much, so deeply. Every time I go to my mom, she has a CD, I must play it. It's called The Power of Love. And when you listen to that song, it takes you deep into your spirit, into your soul, and into your inner being. And make you realize how powerful love really is. Love is sexy because without love we hope that you're not even having any sex. Don't just have sex because it's casual. Make sure you're having it because you love the person you're having it with. So indeed, love is sexy. A lot of us don't like to talk about sex. But without sex, none of us would be here to even speak about anything. Yeah? And love energizes you. Have you noticed that when you're in love, you seem to have excess energy, excess vigor, excess joy, excess peace, excess happiness? The twinkle in your eye is so much brighter. People can actually see it and feel it. And when you go to work, they say, "Oh, what's up with you today?" Have you noticed that? It is real. Love is truly, truly powerful and real. So I command you this day to look in that mirror and say the 3 little words that are so powerful and mean so much. I love me. You're worthy. You're valuable. You're beautiful. And life is indeed beautiful as you can make it to be. And Louis Armstrong tells us it's truly a wonderful world, and it is, despite all the wickedness, the evil. And if you watch the series, The Bible, it truly tells you that all that's happening in this world makes my mother's voice so true every day in my ears. There's nothing new under the sun. Infidelity, envy, jealousy, hate, wickedness, violence, killing. It's all murderous. It's all in the Bible. But I want to get to the place in the Bible of Revelation where there is no more sadness, there is no more depression, there's no more hate, there's no more jealousy, there's no more envy. Because we will be in a place that's prepared for us. Even though I do believe that heaven is actually on earth. So we need to live each day as if we're in heaven. So those are some of the things I just wanted to share with you about love, the power and the power and the power of love. And the power begins with you loving yourself. So my favorite quote, along with love and happiness, is this again, William Pusky. I just wondered, how did he come up with this? Because this is just so powerful. Dance like no one is watching. Love like you'll never be hurt. Sing like no one is listening when you're in the bathtub and any place else in your car. And live like it's heaven on earth. So live and enjoy it. Make it beautiful. Do the best you can with what you have. Be humble. Be committed to the things you commit to and finish them. If you start something, finish it. And live in humility and contentment. Because when you're content with what you have, God will simply give you more and then some more. And people will watch and say, oh my God, why is she so blessed? Because I believe in the supernatural power of God through his son Jesus. And I have unwavering, crazy faith. And I believe that when I pray, God will answer as he promised. And if none of those things happen, then what is the Bible? Should we now doubt the Bible? No, I don't doubt it, because it is what it is. And as it says in Job, God gave Job double for his troubles. So he will give you double for your troubles too. But you got to believe it, and you got to trust. And you got to even kick your wife to the curb like Job did in her thoughts. Because she was crazy what she was saying. And though he's lost all his friends because they thought he was crazy to endure the suffering and still praise the one that he knew could solve all his problems and give him back all that he's lost and then some. That was God through his son Jesus. Yes. So let's vegetate on that thought, those thoughts today. Let's think about them deeply. And anything you're going to do and you're going to say, none of our lives are perfect. None of our lives are without troubles. But whatever comes, after you shout and you tell the person off, yes, you should accommodate your anger. But when you are finished, you must get back to the place of the most powerful word on earth is love. Each day comes with its own gifts. Untie the ribbon. Now, what is your gift that God is giving you today? Think about it for a minute. What is the gift that you got for this day? I can help you out. The gift, one of the gifts he gave you is that you woke up this morning and you're not sick and you can walk. You can go to work. You have a job. Some people don't have a job. So those are your gifts to start with. Your child is awake and healthy and gone to school. And we hope they stay protected until you pick them back up. That's your gift. You can look outside your window and you can see either sunshine or rain or cold, or wherever you are, you can feel that in the air. That's your gift. The gift doesn't always have to be winning the lottery. Yes, we don't like to win it. I certainly like to win it, even though I don't play very often. I should really start being religiously playing, because I always have someone in my head saying, if you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance. So I'm going to encourage you today to untie your ribbon and look into your box. That is your gift for this day. Don't worry about tomorrow's gift. Let's deal with the gift that you got today. Tomorrow will take care of itself, and it's not promised to none of us. Today is the promise that we have. So let's untie it. Let's look into the box. Let's enjoy it. Let's breathe on it. Let's feel good about it. And whatever the hope is for something else, hope that tomorrow when you open the box, that something will be there for you. once you open that box. And make the box gold or purple. Those are the great, powerful colors. Just imagine your box is purple or it's gold. With gold ribbon or purple ribbon. The gold ribbon on the purple box and the purple ribbon on the gold box. See how much I'm giving you? That's your gift for the day. And I just want you to receive it, digest it, and know that it will happen for you. So as we go into love, because I know that President Obama must have done this with the thought of love with his White House staff. President Obama giving 5% of his salary back in support of others. He will do this when other federal workers are being furloughed as part of the mandatory budget cuts that took effect in March. Remember the sequester? Sequester or not to sequester? The voluntary move will be retroactive to March 1st and apply through the rest of the year. The White House came up with the 5% figure to approximate the level of automatic spending cuts to non-defense federal agencies that took effect March 1st. The money goes back to the U.S. Treasury, and I am here to guarantee you that President Obama did that in love. I have not, in my memory, remember any president giving back any of their salaries. But he makes $400,000 a year or something like that. Yeah. But he was willing. And I know it is the power of love that made him do that. Because if he was a hater, he would not be doing that. So I applaud President Barack Obama. 5% of 5% is 5% of $400,000. So I applaud him this morning for doing that. Because I know he did it through love. And I wish he could hear the sound of my voice telling him how much I appreciate what he did. And he should continue the fight for the middle class and for poor people. Because God will truly answer his prayers one of these days. The Republicans and the Tea Party in Congress will have a Jesus God moment. I know it. I have faith, President Obama, that they will have their Jesus moment. Because even though I know that the Sandy Hook thing was just going to fall by the wayside eventually, because they really don't care unless it was some of their children being shot and slaughtered in a school. Then they would be on board, like Portman and his son, who's on board with gay marriage because his son is gay, as he found out 2 years ago. So how many Republicans are going to have fire burning in their houses before they decide to do something about gun control in this country? How and when will we be brave like Australia to do the right thing? Because as we see towns and cities and other crazy people doing things, like in Nelson, Georgia, a law has been passed requiring all citizens to own a gun and ammunition. Thank you very much. Population of Nelson, Georgia is 1,300 people. The ordinance contains no penalties, has exemptions for felons and the mentally ill, and allows anyone to opt out. Town leaders said they wanted to make a point about gun rights. And it is similar, of course, to putting a security sign in your front yard to deter criminals by saying that you have an alarm or whatever it is. The ordinance passed 5-0. Well, who knew? We're talking about Georgia now. Remember Forsyth, Georgia? We're talking about Georgia. I love Atlanta. But Georgia, yeah, Just think of Georgia. Are you surprised? I'm not. And this is similar to something that is in practice in Kennesaw, Georgia, for a very long time. So, again, as I welcome you from around the world and in the United States, and thank you so much for joining me on the Diana Wright Show today, I again applaud my president, your president, the president of these wonderful United States, President Barack Obama, for showing love by giving back 5% of his salary. He didn't have to do it. For those federal workers who are struggling with their own furlough and their own issues with their income. So thank you, President Obama. And I hope to God that some way, somehow, you hear my voice. I want to move now to the cheating scandal in Atlanta. It has been brewing for a while. I am told that it was a student who the teacher was correcting or changing their reading level or trying to do the reading for the person, the child. And the child says, no, I would like to be doing it myself. And as a matter of fact, I gather that that child is now in college and still reading at a low level. Child went home, spoke to his mother or her mother, and that's where the whole scandal was unearthed. There are teachers who claim they were threatened if they didn't go or stay on board of the whole thing. But I'm here to tell you that I actually know that when money is involved with paying teachers for doing their jobs, just like I don't think the president need to be wooing the Republicans to get them to do their jobs, because that's what they were elected to go there and do. Teachers and principals and schools should not, the school itself using the money for the students, that's fine. But principals, superintendents, teachers should never be given money for performance, because then you create monsters. Monsters like these who decided that the only way they're going to get that money is if they change the test scores and the answers of children who were not performing well. And all the schools do it. Georgia just got caught, trust me. They do it. Lots and lots of them do it. They didn't get caught. But who are they really helping? They're not helping the student, because that student is going to think they're doing great. Just like the student that went home and spoke to their parent when they got the report card, it showed reading doing well, and the mother kept saying, how could you have been not doing well yesterday and today you're doing so well? Something is not right about that. And that unearthed the worm that was in the box. The box got opened. The snake started to come out with his head. And boom, look at what we have. So many teachers are going to be arrested. But I will tell you about my own experience with that. When my daughter used to go to a school and I was on the SAC committee, I noticed that firsthand, and I knew that it was not a good thing. Because all we had that meeting about was the school became an A school, so they got money. And of course, they become an A school because students score good on that particular standardized test, which I think is just ridiculous. There's always been standardized tests, and standardized tests should be based on what children are being taught, not what children are being taught to. Okay? So we need to just get that straight right away. Because taking the SATs, the FCATs, the whatever else they call them from every state, it's all the same. It's a money-making machine. Even writing these textbooks. You go to these schools and you watch them change the textbooks for what? It's the same material. They just put some bright pictures and whatever, and then they charge a whole ton load of money. And who is making the money? Normally the friends of the politicians who own the companies that are distributing the books. So let me just peel it out right here now and let you know. This is what happens. So I go to the meeting because I'm always part of most things when my daughter is in school. I try to make myself known, active, and be seen, so that anything she does comes home to me via the teacher, not via her, because children are never not going to tell you when they're doing something wrong. And when they know you're active in the school, they try to stay on their P's and their Q's anyway. It worked for my daughter. I don't know about yours. So we go to the meeting, and yes, it's great that you became an A school. I don't know how you achieve it, but you achieved it. So here is this money now that needed to be divided up. So they had a meeting with all the teachers that were affected. And let me tell you, as I sat there as a member of the team and watched the behavior, the venom that came out because of a little money that was being divided up. Some teachers were saying, well, that person doesn't do as much as I do, so they should not get. My class got a higher score, so they... And they went on until one lady, she got up and she said, well, I have a master's degree and some of you don't, and I should get more. And who dared someone, I think that someone was me, to suggest that you give it a little to the secretary and the, the other people, the custodian people that deal with the thing too? Oh my goodness, your head was chopped off. How dare you? What contribution did they make? The secretaries make a lot of contribution to teachers. They might not be teaching, but they're still helping. And the behavior that I saw displayed in that room, I was so shocked and so annoyed about the whole thing that I just, after, they came around and they asked for your opinion and whatever, I just said, right now, I have no opinion because I'm in shock about the behavior of what I saw displayed here this evening over a few dollars. We're not talking about $1 million now. It's just a few dollars. And just to see the way people behaved because of that, I know that it is wrong to give teachers money based on their performance, or their class's performance, I should say. Because they teach, it's up to the students to absorb it and to make it good for themselves. For their parent to be part of the process, to either get them a tutor or help them themselves. Because you find when your children are young, yes, you can help them and they will accept that. But as they get older, they don't want parents to help them. So you actually have to get them a tutor. If you can't pay for one, you go to the school and you beg for them to help you out. And normally they will. You'll be surprised sometimes. The Bible says, seek and ye shall find, knock and the door shall be opened unto you. If you don't ask, you don't get. So I ask you parents to empower yourselves and go to these schools and ask for what you want. And if you see something fishy, like your child automatically improving in math and English all of a sudden, you need to go check it out. Let them show you, because they must once you ask, but they won't volunteer the information. So, I just wondered why they started this thing about, and this was from President Bush's time. President Obama has nothing to do with it. He just inherited the process. So what happens when they decide now, because of what happened in Atlanta, and that has become public, and the others are still secret because ain't nobody gonna know, should we now disband that particular part of the process? Give the money to the school to buy supplies for the children, to make better activities for the children, and not waste it on textbooks. Let me tell you something. When you go and see the textbooks that they have, that they change each year and sometimes a couple of years, and you're going, but this is the same material. What's the point? Just to make someone else make some money? That's what the Republicans need to focus on, all the waste that goes on in the system from Medicare to Medicaid. Have you ever tried telling Medicaid that someone is ripping them off and see how the rigmarole you have to go through, that you just say, why am I doing this? Forget this. Have you ever tried? Yes. Trying to get Medicaid to pay attention to a complaint you're making is like trying to go meet with President Barack Obama, or meeting with the Pope, or meeting with the Queen. That's how it is. So let them not, I don't think these politicians even begin to understand the fraud and the waste that's in some of these programs. And that's where they need to tighten up. And that's where President Obama was putting a lot of his energies, in Medicare, for example. Lots of people have gone to jail since he's been in power. Lots of people went to jail when President Bush was in power too. But I bet you more people have gone to jail now, because they're looking for this. But you ever try to turn someone in that's ripping off Medicare and see what happens? You'll be so frustrated that you just say, forget this, I can't be bothered. That's just how it is. But yet, if you as an innocent person try to do something that involves Medicare, oh my goodness, they put you through the ringer. You would think that you're asking to go to heaven. You're just trying to make an income. But because of the fraud and because of the bad behavior of a lot of people, the next person who is honest, and if you think back, our own governor, 300 million Medicare fraud, remember that? Came up when he was running for governor. So we don't know, because no one proved it to us. We just know those documents were there. But he's gotten past that, and he's a governor, and he's in campaign mode again for 2014. So what do we expect from our leaders? Instead of this constant hate and fighting, oh my goodness, it just makes you sick. It certainly makes me sick to see that you elect these people to go to Washington to work on your behalf, and their agenda in their hearts is not about working for you. It's about accumulating their power and their next re-election, and, you know, performing for the camera and see who can be on the evening news first. If politicians could just be honest, could just do the job that people are expecting them to do, what a greater United States we would have. What a greater world this would actually be. We would have less politicians going to jail like those in New York who are trying to buy each other's votes. I mean, it happens every day. Sometimes you just don't hear about it. Honesty is the best policy. Did your mother not tell you that? And we all, as little children, teenagers, stole something or did something that we thought was not necessarily kosher. But when you become an adult, you should accept your wrongdoings, ask for forgiveness, and move on. Because everyone is worthy of forgiveness. Everyone, no matter what you've done, you're worthy of forgiveness. So, that's what I need to say about the cheating in Atlanta. And I hope they all have to pay back every single dime of the money they got, including that, what is it, principal or whomever she was that got all that money. Shame on her. So we continue in the realm of education. This is an incredible story, actually. And a lot of these are going to be on my Wow with Dax tomorrow morning as he joins us inside the Diana Wright Show live. Once again, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining me from around the world and in the United States. My name is Diana Wright. Of course, the show bears my name, so I don't think it's necessary for me to keep saying that. But just in case you've just joined us, The name is Diana Wright, and we are happy to have you listen, spread the word, give us the thumbs up, and love us on Facebook. You can call me too. Give me your ideas, and if you want to book me for a speaking engagement, I'd love to do that too. 561-228-1921. That's 561-228-1921. That is a number if you'd like to reach me to give me a suggestion for a young person that we'll feature in our Young Power segment. Also, if you'd like me to speak at your event, at your church, at whatever you're having, let me bring the I Love Me crusade to you, because I promise you, once I'm finished with your group, everyone will be looking in the mirror and saying 3 little words: I love me. And when April 30th comes and it's International I Love Me Day, I expect that each and every one of you will be at the place of loving yourselves for who you are, not what anyone else wants you to be, not what your mother wants you to be, not what your father wants you to be, what you want to be for yourself. So we continue the journey here now, as one college is taking an unusual approach to the problem of mounting student loan debt. It's no longer accepting applications from students who need to take out loans. The college, of course, is Ozark. That's the name of the college, Ozarks, with an S. A private evangelical Christian school in cold Missouri. And they, I'm sure, are the first institution of higher education to take this step, because I haven't heard of anyone else. So they must be the first. And I'm going to congratulate them about that, because this is a wow big moment. The reason for banning loans: Jerry Davis, the president of the four-year school, said debt is a big problem all over the country. Kids nowadays, he says, are not very sophisticated with money. So children, I'll pause here. Women, I'll pause here. Parents, I'll pause here, and I'll ask you this. How many of you are teaching your children about money? How many of you are opening a bank account in their name when they become 18 or even prior to that? How many of you are taking them to the bank, showing them how you write up a check, letting them know that money does not come from the credit card machine or from the ATM? It comes from your sweat. Unless you win it. Yes. Show them how to fill out that check. Take them to the counter with you. Let them see the transaction go through. Those are things I've done. I'm not just making it up. Talk to them about money. Talk to them about credit. Why you have credit and why you do not need to use that credit unless you have an emergency. Why you must only live within your means and only credit something on your credit card if you know you have the money to pay for it at the end of the month in full, not in part. Because if you buy something on sale and you put it on your charge card and then you pay all that interest, the sale is gone. So when you charge something, if you cannot afford to pay for it at the end of the month, you cannot afford it. Those are the things we need to teach our children. And I gave my daughter a book called, what is it, Rich Kid, Poor Kid, Rich Kid, Rich Kid, Poor Kid, whatever. Fantastic book. I made her read it, among some others. I'll tell you the names of them. Okay, and I actually refuse to throw away those books because I think when she gets to 20, she needs to read them again. Okay? So, but many would say the bigger problem is a surge in education costs. I believe that. Prompting families and students to borrow money for earning a college degree. No one should be borrowing money to go to college. When I went to school, it was free. Until the last year of college, they brought in this stupid thing that you got to pay. So I had to pay for the last year of college. And I paid it with a loan that I had to pay back. And I paid it back. And that was a loan directly from the government. That wasn't now where they have all these people ripping off the students in the middle. We don't need no middleman. If you're getting a loan for school, it should be coming from your federal government with a low interest rate that you don't even think you're paying any interest. 1%, 2%, that's it. Should not be more than 2%. It should really be no percent if you ask me. But, you know, hey, I guess they have to charge something. So how about 0.02%? That would be a good number. Because every child is entitled, whether Mr. Rick Santorum believes it or not, to a college education if they wish to do so. And the president is not a snob for wanting each and every young person to go to college, to make something of themselves. Rick Santorum talked about, oh, he's such a snob. Now, Mr. Rick Santorum, how many degrees do you have, Mr. Santorum? How many degrees do you have? Why would you begrudge someone else for having one? I am with the president. I believe that every single student, if they are given the opportunity of a teacher teaching them from elementary school and paying attention to them, unless they just can't learn, they should be going on that journey to college, because college journey is different from high school journey, elementary school journey, middle school journey, junior high journey. It's not the same journey. Everyone is entitled to do so if they wish to do so. They should not be denied because Rick Santorum, wannabe president, would say that it's snobbery to think that everyone can achieve it. Absolutely everyone can achieve it. If every child taken out of their mother's womb is being taught to read and write from that moment, by reading to your child, explaining things, because babies are like sponges. They absorb whatever we give. So why not give it? Stop acting like because you are white or because you are from affluence, you're the one that's supposed to be smart. That doesn't work like that. There are lots of poor kids who are very smart, but all they need is an opportunity. That word opportunity for me is just a big word. Because I think each and every one of us, if we get that opportunity, we will use it. Yeah, some of us abuse it when we get it, like some of those actors and actresses. They start taking drugs and doing crazy things, and the singers. And like I see Beyonce sticking her foot out of a cab yesterday. What's that about? What is that about? What was she trying to advertise or promote? How long her legs were? I didn't think that was motherly or, you know, ladylike to do that. Anyway, we continue here. The average cost of a four-year college topped $22,000 for 2010 to 2011, the academic year. Almost triple what students paid just 2 decades ago. This number, according to the U.S. Department of Education. So I'm not making it up. The College of the Ozarks is not cheap either. Tuition for 2012-2013 academic year is $17,900, and that is way cheaper than a whole lot of schools that I've been looking at. But its website tells families, don't panic. So how does it expect students who can no longer take out loans to afford the school? That's what some parents are asking. The school previously had a policy that students must work on campus, defraying some of their costs, while federal and state aid also help. I had to do work study when I was in college. Yeah, I did that too. And scholarships are available if needed. The college's homepage advertises the school as Hard Work U, the letter U, not the word U, but Hard Work, letter U in caps. And notes, debt is openly discouraged. I love a school like that. Mr. Davis continues to say, this is a work college, not a debt college. The school's president said it no longer works with students or banks in covering costs via loans. About 99 students will be affected by the policy change because they carry private loans to help offset the costs of boarding or other expenses. And ladies and gentlemen, mothers and fathers, not every child need to go off to no college and you have to pay that boarding and all those accommodation fees. If you can't afford it, let the child go to school where they can come home to you and you can supervise them and know what they're doing so they don't get pregnant and they don't become alcoholics and get alcohol poisoning and you're being called by 911 and the police is calling you after that 911 call is made that your child is dead. Okay? So let's keep that in mind. Davis added that he's confident the college can accommodate all students, but those who insist on loans need to transfer to another school. So if a school is offering you to give you work for tuition, honey child, I'll be first in the line. My daughter will be up in front. Because that's what you need to do. It will teach you something. It will teach you about work, not just going to college. So this is a great school, and I would be happy to hear if every single college starts doing this, because this is a wonderful thing. Nationally, the average student debt for the class of 2011 jumped to $26,000, up from $250,000 in 2010. That number comes to you from the Project on Student Debt. Many graduates are struggling to find jobs that can pay enough to cover both their loans and the cost of just living. 2 years after leaving school, students who graduated in 2010 defaulted on their federal loans at a rate of 9.1%, up from 8.8% for the previous class. This number given to us by the Department of Education. So let us just keep that in mind as we move about today, because I tell you what, this is not a good thing. It's not a good thing for children to be leaving school, leaving college, debt burdened. So if schools are going to follow in the footsteps of Ozarks, if it wasn't in Missouri, I'd be certainly trying to get in there with my daughter in there, because, you know, that is just a great plan. Work at the school provides work, and then you get your education for free without loans? Absolutely. That's a wow and a big story for this week. Another big story here coming up is Samoa Airline has become the first airline to change customers' ticket prices. And how are they making this change? By charging customers by weight. Oh my God. So if you're overweight, God help you. The online reservations you must type in. So just in case you think that if you do it online, they ain't going to see you, you must type in your body weight and the amount that your luggage weighs. Passengers are then weighed again at the airport to make sure they were telling the truth. Rates vary. $1 per kilogram, about $1 for every 2.2 pounds. On short flights, it can go up to, if this is a long flight, it can go up to $4.16 per 2.2 pounds. That's on longer flights. So on a short flight, it's $1 for every 2.2 pounds. On a long flight, like if you plan to go from somewhere to Europe, it's going to be $4.16 per 2.2 pounds. Mr. Chris Langton, CEO of Samoa Air, he says this. This is the fairest way of traveling, he said. There is no extra fees for excess baggage. A kilo is a kilo, he said. Samoa is listed as one of the world's fattest countries. So do you think that's the reason that the CEO of Samoa Airlines decided to do this first? Because his country have the world's greatest amount of fat people? They better not try that here in the United States of America. I can just see the craziness that would take place here if all the airlines, can you imagine American, Air Trans, Southwest, all those airlines and even some of the foreign carriers deciding, okay, you want to travel? You must weigh. I'm not getting on any scale at any airport for anyone. So I will go only where my car can take me. I'm serious. We must stand up for something. And this is one thing I would not be doing. How about you? I hope you're saying no to this too. And no to it coming to the U.S. because I know there's going to be some airline here in the U.S. that's going to try this thing. Anyway, I have here another man again was held this time for 42 years for something he did not do. He said he was innocent all this time. And he was released this week after being in prison for 42 years. Can you imagine that? Someone taking away 42 years of your life? This happened, of course, in Arizona to Louis Quan Taylor, who was 16 years old at the time. He was sentenced to multiple consecutive life sentences for something he just didn't do. For a fire. I remember that fire. I remember seeing the people jumping out of the hotel windows for a fire that ripped through the Pioneer Hotel. Do you remember that? I remember it very vividly. A Tucson landmark that burned in December of 1970. I clearly remember that. While employees on an aircraft company, they were having their Christmas party at the hotel. And that's, I guess, the reason where, there are so many people there. Taylor said police pinned the crime on him. Oh my goodness, how many times are we going to hear this? While the jury, the white jury, he pointed out, gave him an unfair trial. In 2002, an examination of Taylor's case by CBS 60 Minutes found evidence that he had been railroaded and led to Volunteer Legal Group. That's the Arizona Justice Project to take on his case. So because of the 60-minute story that was carried, then the Arizona Justice Project decided to take up this case and pursue it. That's in 2002. So it took them from 2002 till now, 2013, to get the man released. The fire killed 29 people. Some jumped to their deaths, I remember. Others were trapped in their rooms because the fire truck ladders were not long enough to get to those floors. I'm sure they've corrected that by now. Taylor was at the hotel that night because he was trying to get some food and drinks because he figured if there was a Christmas party, there would be tons of food. Wow. At that time, the fire was declared to be arson. And now after the Arizona Justice Project delved into the case, it is now found to be undetermined. A man robbed 42 years of his life, his entire life basically, because he was 16, a teenager. What is wrong with our justice system? Every week we're going to see someone being freed because of some lie that someone told. Just the other day, 2 weeks ago, the young man who was lied on, that girl who claimed he raped her and kidnapped her, and he did no such thing, lost his opportunity to go to college and make the football team and make the NFL. I think I gather that he got a contract. this week. So, you know, his mother had to sell her house and her car just to pay for legal fees. When does this stop? And why most of the time? Well, some of the times it's white people, but it's also a lot of black people too. So it's a mixed bag. People in authority, people who have power, are just simply not doing their job well. So we hope they will take that on and continue to make an effort to be extra careful. Well, now it's easier because you have DNA tests and you have, you know, the justice system has gotten so much more computerized and sophisticated. Yes, there's still a lot of problems, but they're getting better from what I'm reading. And I have here the high cost of love. I'm going to leave that for another day as I try to not overstress my voice. And I also have some household toxins that you should banish out of your house right now. There are some parenting tips that we'd like to give to you also, because, you know, there are things that parents are doing that are wonderful and things that they're doing that are absolutely crazy. And surprising health drugs, or should I say health dangers in your office, in that little cubicle that you're in. Lots of danger lurking there. All right. So we are going to go through those things. And did you know that men say they actually prefer brunettes to be their wives more than blondes? Men say benefits make brunettes, dark-haired girls, make better wives than blondes and blue eyes. A new poll reveals that men prefer darker hair when it comes to settling down. Who knew? Now this is a wow. The poll surveyed 1,000 men, and 54% would prefer a brunette wife, while 16% would choose a blonde girl. 30% of the men say they have no preference at all. Just let the love flow. Just let the love come to you. Yeah. So men are really thinking these days, you know. And, you know, home remedies. I want to leave you with the home remedies. Home remedies for allergies, because the other stories are quite long. Hot cup of tea. I'll go through them when Dax is with me so he can help me speak tomorrow morning. Spicy foods, chilies, wasabi, fresh garlic. Those are all home remedies. Eucalyptus oil. It supercharges. Wow. Steam. You know what that is? When you have a cold and you're stuffy and you put some hot water, really hot water, in your sink, in your bowl, in your bathroom. You take a towel, you put your head over it, and you cover your head and the bowl with the towel. You can put a tea bag of your, you know, special fragrance or whatever, any tea bag that you like, or herbs or spices, orange peel or that kind of thing in there. And you stay there. And when you come from that, believe me, you are clear. It's called tenting. Taking a hot steam shower is also good. Herbs and supplements, spirulina, eyebright, and gallon seal. You know, I don't know. I'm not so into those supplement things. And HEPA filters, very good for your AC. You need to keep that HEPA filter. And local honey, saline spray. There's a spray called the saline spray. The brand that we use is called Ocean. When you have a cold, you're stuffy, or your kids, it has nothing in it, but it's saline, and it's really good, and it works like magic. It's saline spray, and the brand, like I said, that we use is called Ocean. So if your child is stuffy, instead of putting those, you know, medicated things up their nose, just go for the saline. Ocean is good. Just spray it up there. It clears it up just like you're using a medicated one. So avoid the medicated ones. And of course, there's a neti pot. That fancy, exotic looking pot. You can use that too, if you like. All right. So I'm going to spare myself and go and take care of my voice again. until tomorrow morning. I will rest it enough, and then hopefully next week, Monday, we can start back on our, regular schedule of 10:30 in the morning and 8 p.m. at night to do the show. So we thank you today for joining us. And of course, I am very happy that I only had to drink the water twice, and my coughing was very good today. Thank you for taking the journey of love with me every single day as we do it here on the Diana Wright Show live. Don't forget that come April 30th is I Love Me Day, International I Love Me Day. And we want you to participate by not waiting until April 30th, by beginning today, wherever you're at. Love yourself. Know that you have value. Know that you matter. Know that you're worthy. Just have faith. Believe. Trust God. Trust His Son Jesus to operate in your life and bring you the blessings that you want and that you need. And stay in the supernatural thought. Don't allow any negative people in, please. Come out of the blue right now and come into the green with me and take the journey of love. Because love is the most powerful word on this planet. And when you have it for yourself, you can then give it. And then you'll be even better at receiving it. So if you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it's yours. If it doesn't, it was never yours. Reminding you of another date, October 5, the date that you'll be asked to save a life through the Save a Life Jamaica Foundation. Navlet Gale, the president. That event will be good. And we will tell you about other events they're having to raise funds to save lives, not just in Jamaica, but save lives around the world. She's starting in her own little place, and that's what you all should do. Start in your own little surrounding, and then you can go bigger. It's not about where you start, it's how you finish. And on that note, I say au revoir, ciao, adios, and I love me. Remember that. Love yourself today. In Jesus' name.